Everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria. Welcome back for another video. For those of you who don't know me, I have a Master's of Science in Human Nutrition and a Bachelor's of Science in Biology, and I specialize in helping you to build a high-functioning metabolism by understanding what it takes to create one. So I go over everything in my coaching program that is currently on sale for you guys until the end of January as my happy 2025 to a healthy you. This is my coaching program, and you can purchase it in the link in the description box of this video. We go over everything you need to know how the human metabolism works, and then the fundamentals of an optimal diet and lifestyle planning, and then troubleshooting your results. So it really is a intensive course, a crash course in human nutrition and metabolism, and then how to apply it to make it work for your everyday life. So in today's video, we are going to take a look at my Instagram and just what I've been up to there. I post a lot of the same stories to my YouTube if you follow those, but I just kind of want to take a look at some stuff and just give you guys my feedback. So for those of you who don't follow me already on Instagram, my handle is Nutrition by Victoria. So we are going to take a look at this reel today. This is part of the suggested post that shows up on my Instagram. And my biggest issue with social media right now is the suggested post, because it's all I ever see on my account anymore is the suggested posts. And basically how the algorithm works is if you click on something, then they're going to promote it, and they'll promote more of that content to you. So if you like my stuff, make sure you're clicking on it so that we can start reaching a wider audience with the right information in regards to health and nutrition and metabolism.
Your weight, and you will have all the results that you're looking for.
Unfortunately, what I found was that when you get into this extended juice fasting, you eliminate pounds and pounds of toxic waste. And this stuff we don't know about. Nobody knows about it because we don't do this type of fasting anymore in this day and age.
Okay, so this is an interview on the Dr. Phil show, highlighting the extremes that some people are willing to take in the name of health. So we're going to watch this full clip, and then I will share my feedback.
And as we start to digest this old stuff, nobody knows we have it because I had a flat stomach. I wasn't overweight, and it just keeps coming. And then my clients, over 250 people as well, had it, and it's from foreign protein, that's meat, refined sugars, gluten, all these things that are simply not for human consumption. You say eating fruit is extreme. Now, isn't it extreme to eat chemicals?
You don't need to go to such extremes. You really just need to have a balanced diet that's healthy and watch your weight, and you will have all the results that you're looking for.
Okay, so we've got one guy who looks like an overweight doctor basically telling her that she doesn't need to be doing juice fasting to be healthy. And I agree, his recommendations for, health are probably different from mine, but I actually am in agreement more with him than her, because the secret to health and longevity and being lean all comes down to what you're able to do consistently day in, day out. Is your diet and lifestyle supporting health, longevity, vitality? Okay. Because if it is, then you don't need to do anything extreme. And if it isn't, you don't need to do anything extreme either. You just need to get on the right wagon. And that's why I wrote my coaching program, so that I'm giving you the information and the tools to direct your sale, basically, so that you have the foundational principles in your hand and in your, power to create, the diet and lifestyle that will get you to the health and vitality that you desire. Now, there's some other things that I want to address from this little clip here.
Unfortunately, what I found was that when you get into this extended juice fasting, you eliminate pounds and pounds of toxic waste.
Okay. So if any of you are familiar with colonoscopy prep, that clears your system out. I had to have a colonoscopy back when they were trying to figure out what was wrong with my GI system. So I had an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, all kinds of weird stuff. And you basically take like Miralax in some kind of a liquid, and then you're on a liquid diet for about 24 hours. Maybe a little less than that. But the idea is to clear out your system so then they can look at the colon wall and see if there's any polyps, inflammation, damage, cancer. It's a preventative diagnostic test that people do to just make sure that, they don't have anything weird brewing in their colon. So this whole concept of juice fasting, eliminating all this waste, your body eliminates waste every single day that it doesn't need, just naturally. All you need to do is to not take in so much fat and protein, which will hang about in the colon because it doesn't contain fiber. It's really dense. So a lot of times it doesn't get broken down efficiently. And then most people don't eat enough fiber, so they're not able to flush it out of the system. But you don't need to do a juice fast. You just need to eat a high carbohydrate, sufficient protein, low fat diet that's sufficient in fiber, and it will work the same without having to do anything extreme.
And this stuff we don't know about. Nobody knows about it because we don't.
The thing is, nobody knows about it. Okay. But you have these doctors who are performing colonoscopies all the time, and they would be able to tell if, this is truly what was going on, because these people are doing this prep for it, right? And then I've also done colonics, and I never just had like pounds of fecal matter coming out of my system. I would have like little bits of, fibrous product that would get stirred up from the fluid going in, but it was never just like pounds and pounds of waste. And at that time, I was following a raw vegan diet. So this is not legitimate information here that she's sharing. I've also done enemas, same thing. All it did was wreck my gut. And then I had the same results as like colon hydrotherapy, where it was all that fluid coming back out, little bits of fibrous matter, but it was never just like globs of mucoid plaque that people claimed. Never had that experience. Maybe I did it wrong, but I think it's BS.
Do this type of fasting anymore in this day and age. And
okay, now she's referring to juice fasting. Juice fasting is a relatively novel concept. Like, you need a juicer unless you're making your own orange juice or lemonade. But making these vegetable and fruit juices with a juicing machine came about in like the 60s, I believe, with Jack LaLanne. So it's a relatively novel machine and concept of concentrating fruit and vegetable into juice.
As we start to digest this old stuff, nobody knows we have it because I had a flat stomach, I wasn't overweight, and it just keeps coming. And then
the way that she's talking, it sounds like she's undercarbed.
Clients, over 250 people.
Okay, and that's the scary part, is that she's coaching people to basically do juice fasting as well. Now, there's a lot of like juice fasting and fasting clinics that I'm aware of. True North Health Center, Doug Graham runs one, Lauren Lockman, Dr. Robert Morse, and people have died at their centers. Okay. Some people do dry fasting and die. There was this raw vegan chick who died 2 years ago, and they're not dying because they're dying from anorexia. They're dying from dehydration. They're dying from malnutrition. Okay. People aren't dying from juice fasting because they're still taking in glucose, but it's not good for the GI system because we need fiber to keep the bowels regular. So the GI system can get weak, and then you can run into like I've never been successful with juice fasting because it's always caused me to have some kind of GI distress at some point because I need fiber to be moving through my system, and as most people do, as the majority of us do.
As well had it, and it's from foreign protein. That's meat, refined sugars.
Okay, so she said that the leftover waste in the colon is foreign protein. This I would agree with. It's foreign protein from consuming animal parts, animal pieces and secretions, because they don't contain fiber. They're too dense. I believe it takes around 12 hours to digest animal protein. It could take more depending on your digestive strength, but that's a heck of a long time. And I wouldn't doubt that diseases like Crohn's disease, colitis is all due to meat hanging around and fermenting in the colon and creating inflammation and creating this disease, right? So we've got a microbiome problem, and the solution is simple: high carb, low fat, sufficient fiber, soluble fiber based diet, a diet that's high in fruits and starches. So you got nutrition and soluble fiber there. Also, the soluble fiber found in the fruits and the starches, as well as some vegetables, contain prebiotics that help to grow good gut bacteria. Good gut bacteria also live on refined sugars. And I can't believe that she used meat and refined sugars in the same sentence, thinking that they are somewhat similar when referring to foreign proteins. Refined sugar dissolves. If you put some on your tongue, it dissolves completely. It dissolves in water. If you're having an IV dextrose solution, it's dissolving into your blood. Okay. For easy transport of that glucose into your cells. So refined sugar doesn't just hang about, it dissolves.
Gluten, all these things that are simply not for human consumption. You say.
Okay, the irony is that when you make a juice, you're making a refined sugar product. There is sugars found in green vegetables that a lot of people make green juice with. There is sugars found in fruit. From a molecular standpoint, there is no difference between the glucose and fructose found in fruits and the glucose and fructose found in table sugar, or the glucose and fructose found in vegetables. Okay. So, this lady, it's dogma. It's believing in these principles that aren't based on science. Okay. They're just based on a theory, and it's a dangerous theory. A lot of people are subscribing to this, and it's leading to ex-vegans, people getting really sick, people developing anorexia, orthorexia, and even dying.
Eating fruit is extreme. Now, isn't it extreme to eat chemicals?
This lady is just all over the place. Eating fruit only can be extremely beneficial, or it can be extremely detrimental depending on if you know what you're doing. So obviously, if you're going to just eat fruit, you have to make sure you're eating enough calories, meeting all your nutrition needs, being responsible. You can't just eat 3 cantaloupes a day. That's like 500 calories. and eventually you're going to end up like the fruitarian raw vegan girl who died of anorexia. It's a real thing. We can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. We are human beings who are subject to homeostatic mechanisms that keep our system running in in perfect balance, in perfect harmony. When we don't take in enough nutrition, when we don't take in enough carbohydrates, when we eat too much fat and protein, we set ourselves up for creating imbalances, metabolic imbalances in the body that can become very detrimental. So that's it for this little clip. I just want to finish that out real quick though.
And you don't need to go to such extremes. You really just need to have a balanced diet that's healthy.
And that's what I completely agree with. And that's what I help you to create for yourself, is a balanced diet based on the principles that I outline in my coaching program. Now, the other thing is, the woman brought up chemicals. Now that we've got new politicians in office in the United States of America, RFK Jr. is now like the Prime Minister of Health here in the States. So his goal is to start getting some of those chemicals out of the food. I really don't think that it should be up to the consumer to have to navigate that all the time. We should have better standards here in our country where you shouldn't have to pay so much money extra for organic. Our food just shouldn't have that level of pesticide on it already. We should just have better FDA standards. If food additives like red dyes and things like that are found to be harmful, then they shouldn't be in the food to begin with. I would like to see the US matching standards with Europe as a start. That would be a good goal. All right, so next up here. Okay, so this little reel is about before going vegan and how you see the foods, and then after going vegan and how you see food. So before going vegan, everyone sees meat, dairy, and eggs as what they are. And then after going vegan, you see dead flesh corpses, cow tit liquid, and chicken periods, because that's truly what those foods are. This can be like kind of a controversial topic, but I really think that the mass consumption of animal pieces and secretions all come down to cognitive dissonance that gets created when we are children. So children naturally are inclined to have compassion towards animals. I've raised 3 children so far, and I currently have a 1-year-old who is obsessed with animals. He loves them. He's always showing affection towards his pets, animals at petting zoos that we've gone to, his stuffed animal toys, the animals in his storybooks, and the animals that he sees on screen. And his inclination is not to eat these animals. It's that they are his friends. They're his buddies. And I've seen this with my girls as well. And then I've also had the opportunity to talk with a lot of children who, once they are able to make the connection between their food and that the food that they're eating is an animal, generally happens around the ages between like 8 and 12. A lot of them choose to be vegetarian. My daughter goes to school with children who've made the connection and chosen not to eat meat. I find that children have an easier time making that connection with animals, like living animals, as opposed to like their secretions, consuming cow secretions, cow breast milk, and eggs. So they have a tendency to go towards more of a vegetarian diet out of compassion reasons. Now, vegans only make up about 1% of the population in the United States. So there's a lot of work to be done helping people to make the connection between, eating animals and that we don't need to eat animals in order to be healthy. And that's another reason why I wrote my coaching program, to outline that you can literally get every single nutrient that you need from plants. In fact, I included a micronutrient information guide, a plant-based one that shows how you can meet all of your needs, vitamin, mineral, amino acid, essential fatty acid wise by consuming various plant foods. So again, if you're interested, that's included with my coaching program. Just my goal is to help people adopt, a human specific diet so that they can thrive and be healthy. And the suffering of animals does not need to continue. And it opens the door to bigger topics like how we've been indoctrinated for a long, long time to believe that we need to eat animal pieces and secretions to be healthy. We've been told over the last 30 years that carbohydrates are bad. Well, what are people going to eat if they think carbohydrates are bad? They're going to eat animal pieces and secretions, meat, dairy, and eggs, because by default they're lower in carbohydrate and they're high in fat and protein. And my husband was watching a reel the other night that had a guy on there saying you didn't need to eat salad because the cow that you're eating already ate it for you. I just think that the idiocracy right now is really interesting. But then, getting into kind of bigger topics here of disease development, right? So I'm going to just share some of my recent information on,
the CO2 concentration.
I think I got to reset my Instagram here. Well, anyways, so everything starts with insulin resistance in regards to disease development. So I want to just share with you guys, this is my Instagram. Oh, perfect. It's right here. No, can you stay? Okay. So insulin resistance drives obesity, high cholesterol, fatty liver disease, chronic kidney disease, PCOS, Alzheimer's disease, neuropathy, blindness, retinopathy, erectile dysfunction, type 1 diabetes, type 1.5 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, gestational diabetes, cancer, coronary artery disease, hypertension, atherosclerosis, and so many other diseases. So I asked you guys on my Instagram what causes insulin resistance. For those of you who have been following my content, you'll know that insulin resistance starts with your diet. This is the Journal of Physiology that I like to reference all the time. The Dietetic Factors Influencing the Glucose Tolerance and the Activity of Insulin by H.P. Hemsworth basically determined that sugar tolerance is impaired by starvation. So we're talking about insulin resistance here. So sugar tolerance is what they used to refer to it as. It's impaired by starvation. So this would be calorie restriction, carbohydrate restriction, or the taking of diets with a high content of fat, whilst it is improved by taking diets containing excess of carbohydrate. So just like that little reel we just watched about the woman and the juice fasting, and she seemed really excited and really kind of upset, like just being told, oh, just eat a healthy diet, because that hasn't worked so well for everyone, because most people are eating too much fat and not enough carbohydrates. So they're still staying insulin resistant. And that's what's driving, all the chronic disease. So in order to be insulin sensitive, we need to be eating the right diet. So we're going to go back to my reels here, and I'm going to just go over some of the recent reels that I've been sharing.
To a truly low-fat diet. And in just 14 days, those who are following the low-fat diet, 100% of
Okay, I'm going to restart that one.
the researchers compared the ADA diet to a truly low-fat diet. And in just 14 days, those who were following the low-fat diet, 100% of them who were taking oral meds reduced to 0 meds in 14 days with their blood glucose. The researchers compared.
Okay, so this is Robbie Barbaro from Mastering Diabetes, just sharing that cutting the fat out of your diet will improve blood sugar regulation. So a high carbohydrate, low fat diet promotes insulin sensitivity. Now, somebody asked me, that he promotes intermittent fasting, what my thoughts were about that. Well, if we go back to Percival Hemsworth's work, starvation, so that would be sugar starvation. So that would be going too long without consuming enough carbohydrate is going to impair insulin sensitivity, is going to promote insulin resistance. So I think Robbie means well. I believe he's a type 1 diabetic himself, but he would have better results with himself and his clients if he didn't promote intermittent fasting. Now, it's normal to fast, do an overnight fast of about 12 hours, but once you get up and start moving around through the day, you want to be taking in some form of carbohydrate. I had to be on a clear liquid diet when I went into labor with my son because I was having a VBAC, which is a vaginal delivery after having a C-section. That's what my goal was. But because of the risk for uterine rupture, I had to be ready for surgery, basically. So I was on clear liquids, and the whole time that I, was laboring, which was quite a while, I was on clear liquids for about 24 hours. The nurses kept saying to me, you have to keep your sugars up. You have to keep your sugars up. And I'm not like diabetic or anything like that. It was just to keep my energy up. So they were encouraging me to drink apple juice and eat these little, Italian ices, in order to just keep my energy up for the labor. And I ended up having a successful vaginal delivery. But I just thought it was really interesting, to note that the nurses were not encouraging me to intermittent fast. They were encouraging me to keep my blood sugar levels regulated and normal with a normal intake of glucose. Because what happens when you run out of glucose, what happens when you start getting low on glucose is your body starts using cortisol. It increases cortisol levels in order to encourage your liver to start making more glucose. And if you're out of glucose, okay, then you're going to be making it via gluconeogenesis, which is going to be coming from protein. And this is the starting place for insulin resistance, is when you're spending too much time in gluconeogenesis. So in order to avoid running into that problem, you just want to make sure that you're eating and drinking during the day, having some form of carbohydrate. Okay, so next reel here.
Used to do scrambled eggs in Kerrygold butter. I no longer do that anymore. I now do scrambled eggs in olive oil. And olive oil is, therapeutically, is lowering ApoB levels.
Avoiding eggs also lowers ApoB levels.
Okay, so I found this little clip. I actually don't know who this lady is, Dr. Rhonda something, really popular channel because this reel on YouTube took off, and I think that's where I had found it. Yeah, it's a YouTube short. If the lady is concerned about her ApoB levels and she noticed that they went down from consuming olive oil instead of butter with her eggs, then she should also be smart enough to understand that by eliminating the eggs would lower her ApoB levels even more. Now, ApoB is a risk factor for heart disease. So if you have elevated ApoB, you're at risk for heart disease. It's basically an indicator for plaque development within your arteries. And it's a better indicator than just your standard lipid profile, which checks for, total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. But this is really common within these animal-based diets. I don't know if she's exclusively eating an animal-based diet, but you see it in the carnivore keto community pretty regularly. These people will claim that they aren't creating heart disease in their bodies, but then when they're on the diet long enough, that is the end result. Paul Saladino switched his diet to a fruit and animal-based diet after learning that his ApoB level was also elevated from his carnivore diet. Now, Steak and Butter Gal, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. We'll check her out in a second here. She is an interesting case here, as she has claimed that her carnivore diet has had zero impact on elevating her ApoB levels, her triglyceride, or not triglycerides, but her cholesterol, which I think is simply not the case. Or she's not actually eating the way that she is proposing. So we're going to look at one of her videos here. Okay, this one.
People with high cholesterol levels don't get Alzheimer's. Why don't they get Alzheimer's? Because what does the brain love? Fat. So what's a good cholesterol level? Oh, probably 200, 250. See what's happened? They've got many people on cholesterol-lowering medication. They've got everyone on the fat-free diet. And because you're not getting the feeling of satisfaction when you eat, the person eats huge amounts of carbs. They've lowered the cholesterol level so they can get more people on cholesterol-lowering medication. People are eating margarine. Oh, surely all of that has reduced heart disease. No, it's still the #1 killer.
Okay. The lady, I forget who the lady is who is doing the audio here. Let's see. I think her name's Ruth something. But anyways, so there was so much contradicting information there. It was like people have too low cholesterol when they're eating a low-fat diet, but then they need cholesterol lowering medication. Now, what these people are promoting is a diet that is going to inevitably result in heart disease. Normal cholesterol levels are, let's check out normal cholesterol. I believe you want it to be under 200. Normal cholesterol, yep, less than 200. Okay, so if your cholesterol is over 200, that is a risk factor for heart disease. That is usually indicating that your ApoB is also going to be elevated. So Steak and Butter Gal, you know, eating the way that she is eating is promoting heart disease. And the other thing that they mentioned was that carbohydrates aren't satisfying. Now, I find that to be absolutely not the case. When I eat enough carbohydrates, I no longer desire any other food. I don't desire fatty foods or donuts. In fact, I have a fun story for you guys. I'll just play you the clip. Okay. Actually, what do I want to do? I want to play this one really quickly here, and then we'll.
I was noticing that more and more women seem to have Alzheimer's. Yeah. And when I went to all the researchers, they would say to me, no, that's just because women live longer. That's the only reason. And I was like, no, I don't think that's true. And so I partnered with the Alzheimer's Association.
Okay, so this is Maria Shriver. She's married to Arnold Schwarzenegger. She is the sister of the late JFK, I believe. She's at least in his family. I think she's his sister. But anyways, so she's talking about Alzheimer's disease. And what did we notice about this chart here? Is that Alzheimer's disease is on there because Alzheimer's is caused by insulin resistance. Now, if there's an increase in insulin resistance amongst women, think about what the media has been telling women over the last 20 to 30 years. Calorie restrict. Carbs make you fat. Carbs are bad. Carb restrict. Eat a low carb diet. And all it's created is insulin resistance. It programmed those women to be insulin resistant and then to develop whatever chronic disease they were going to develop based on their genetics. as a byproduct of that. So it's just like absolutely insane like what is going on. And it's definitely all about making money. So that's the last thing I want to show you guys on my Instagram is this little reel featuring Elon Musk.
The animals are not going to make any difference to global warming or, you know, the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere. Really, if people eat pure steaks, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Irrelevant. I want to be super clear about that.
So Elon Musk has been featured on several big podcasts lately, nutrition related podcasts, such as the Joe Rogan podcast, stating that people need to eat more meat. So Elon Musk is claiming that meat consumption isn't having an impact on global warming or increasing CO2 emissions into the atmosphere.
He's saying that makes zero sense whatsoever. Cows have to eat 50 to 100 times as much food as they produce. Animals are producing 12% of the food we eat in terms of dry weight, and they're using 43% of the land area of the planet. Wow. This is why animal agriculture is so inefficient, and this is why they're contributing to climate change in a big way. Either Mr. Musk does not understand mathematics, which I highly doubt, or he's being extremely clever. He's ignoring it for the specific reason that he is the richest man in the world because people believe fossil fuels are the leading cause of climate change.
And he needs to drive this narrative because of his bajillion-dollar company that relies on this idea.
Right, because he's selling electric cars.
Okay, so Elon Musk is not the only person guilty of using a clever, strategy in order to drive business. Okay, so you have this animal agricultural multi-billion-dollar business that is fueling insulin resistance, that is creating all of these varying chronic diseases. And then where do you go when you have something wrong with you? You go to the doctor. So now you become a client of the medical system. So basically through media marketing, they've convinced people that carbohydrates are bad. They've convinced you that you need to calorie restrict. And in the last 30 years, Dr. Atkins has been promoting a low carb diet. There's been the keto diet, and now there's the carnivore diet and the animal-based diet. You have a lot of reels and social media suggesting that a vegan diet is deficient, as we saw with the certified health nut guy. And you've seen this massive push for animal-based diets, okay, where people are eating lots of animal-based food. Homesteaders, women, lots of accounts claiming that a low-fat diet, a vegan diet, wrecked their hormones and that animal foods brought their hormones back. There's a lot of men taking anabolics, suggesting that a vegan diet is insufficient and that you need to eat animal products in order to be healthy. There's a lot of people suggesting that you need to fast in order to be healthy. You need to do a juice fast to be healthy, when the solution is so simple. And Percival Hemsworth wrote about it in his dietetic factors influencing the glucose tolerance and the activity of insulin, that all you need to do is eat a high carbohydrate diet that's low in fat and sufficient in calories, and you will be rowing your boat in the direction of creating insulin sensitivity in your body and getting away from any insulin resistance that has been created. So you're always either moving in the direction of insulin sensitivity with your diet and lifestyle or insulin resistance. So it's kind of like a scale. The more insulin resistant you become, the more you are at risk for developing a chronic disease. The more insulin sensitive you are, the more likely you're going to live a healthy, long, active life. Oh, hi, thank you. And that is also the key to maintaining an effortlessly slim, lean body, you know? So it's all about, it all comes down to insulin sensitivity. I want to go to my YouTube account now. I just have a little bit more to go over, and then I'm going to end this video for today. And we're going to go to my YouTube channel. So we're going to go back to talking about sweets for a second, because I was at the store today picking up a few things, and I had been post gym. I did a hard workout on the bike today, like a VO2 max kind of interval session, and I had 2 clementines after the gym. This is for the baby. But I was still hungry, and I was like, okay, I can wait till I get home because I've had a little bit of sugar. Well, I walked past these donuts and my brain was like, ooh, those look really good. So at that point I knew, because my brain was telling me that those looked good, that I needed to go home and have a dense source of carbohydrate in order to meet my glucose needs. So once you become really attuned to your body, and because you're regularly eating enough carbohydrates, you know exactly how much and what it is that your body needs to eat. Okay, so we're gonna go to my shorts here, my most recent short. Ooh, I'm actually still working on the dates here. But I'm going to play this little video for you guys. Yeah, so instead of going for the donuts, I went home and I ate dates. I still have a little bit left here, but he was sleeping when I originally made this video, and then none of it recorded. So I had to record it again after he got up. So okay. The last thing I want to show is an oldie but a goodie. Okay, I gotta go to nutrition. Here we go. Because I just want. Oh no! Sorry, the baby just touched the. He likes the buttons on the keyboard. I made this video 4 years ago. Basically somebody asked me, you know, about mastering diabetes and sugar, and you know, everybody thinks sugar's bad, and does sugar cause insulin resistance? And so we are going to listen to the late John McDougall talk about that. And I made this video 4 years ago sharing what he had to say about sugar and insulin sensitivity.
This is one of the most important things for the consumer and scientists and medical doctors to get straightened out. And it should have been straightened out in the 1920s when a fellow by the name of Percival Himsworth published his basic research, and it was all published by 1940 in the British Medical Journal. And it's just no question about it. Fat, we're talking about pig fat, cow fat, olive fat, paralyzes insulin, increases insulin needs. Carbohydrate, including pure white sugar, increases the sensitivity to insulin. It was published by Brunzell from the University of Washington in the New England Journal of Medicine in, I think, 78. Brunzell's his name. He took type 2 diabetics. He made a synthetic diet, 45% sugar, and then doubled white sugar, multidextrose, plain table sugar, doubled it to 85% white sugar. Every aspect of the diabetes improved. Walter Kempner, back in the 40s and 50s, published his results on treating type 2 diabetics with rice, table sugar, fruit, and juice. And Kempner knew back in the 50s that sugar makes insulin work better and cures diabetics. But you see, we've got it entirely backwards these days, thinking sugar causes diabetes. You know, it's so backward and bizarre, nobody stands a chance. So we got to get this one simple fact down that has been established. Even in diabetes care 2 years ago, they took type 1 diabetics, they dramatically increased their white sugar intake and decreased the insulin needs of type 1 diabetics. It's always been the same, but everybody knows different. Don't eat potatoes, turns to sugar, makes you fat, gives you diabetes. It's exactly the opposite in terms of ultimate disease outcome.
Oh, such a powerful video there. I mean, it's John McDougall, what he had to say, and that whole panel was like anti-sugar crowd. And it's just like crazy that, you know, that this message has not become mainstream. I know that the low fat diet did get popular for a minute in like the early 2000s when Dr. Dean Ornish published his research for reversing heart disease, which was clinically proven, and it was a high carb, low fat diet. And then you have Dr. Neil Barnard, who published his research reversing type 2 diabetes with a high carb, low fat diet. So, but this, if people adopt a high carb, low fat diet, it's going to impact the animal agricultural industry in a negative way. People are going to be consuming less, buying less. And then you're also going to have less patients when you have people more insulin sensitive than they are insulin resistant. So, you know, that's it for today's video. Just some things to think about. And for those of you, you know, interested in learning everything that you need in order to be successful with your diet and have the information to share with other people when they, you know, start asking questions, get a copy of my coaching program. And like I said, it's going to be on sale just for a few days longer, but that way you just have everything. You don't have to do the extensive amount of research required to you know all of this. And all my references are included at the end of the program, so you can, you know, go and take a look at those yourself, and you know, get maybe some of the books that I have referenced as well, and you know, have that information at your disposal to continue doing your own research. All right, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you got to the end of this video, comment live if you'd like to see me go live, and let me know what time zone you are in. All right, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye, guys.